We are told we are superior due to our ability to reason before acting to animals. Yet our leaders insist we cannot even overcome our basic instincts. They tell us government or society is to blame, never us for bad things that happen to us. I'd like to believe humanity is capable of thinking before we act. Yes, we have drives, and teenagers have less control, but telling them it's not their fault is dooming them to suffering until they either learn what we adults refuse to tell them, or they die feeling frustrated at the whims of chance, never understanding how they might make wiser decisions, learning right and wrong to limit their exposure to bad things happening. Yes, bad will always happen. The question is, will you learn so you might avoid putting yourself at risk? Or will you blame others and continue on until you find yourself in the same position again? Earth is a place of learning. Sadly, we adults are telling children it's just a place to suffer and endure, hardly likely to allow them the tools of a better life. SOF 1-6. In days gone by, you have had leaders to guide you, but before them were even greater leaders, whom you have not known. The inspiration of their words is something that must never be lost. It must be preserved for all time. We must be like a man who has traveled far with a heavy burden. He rests and seeks among the things he carries to find what can be discarded. Knowing he has still a long way to go, the choice you must make has to be made soon, for the years remaining to our Father cannot be plentiful. SOF 1-7. We must establish a community where men can live together and where they can enjoy the companionship of women. Men always benefit from united effort, but this is inseparable from necessary restrictions. Let the restrictions imposed be such that no man can feel resentment because of the restraints set upon him. Let the only ordinances and restrictions imposed be founded on the nature of man and upon spiritual and moral values. SOF 1-8. We must seek to assure freedom of action for every man and woman, as long as it does not prejudice the equal rights of others. We must work for the benefit of the many, but in doing so must not overlook the provision of rewards for those who serve best. The rewards must go to the men who are best in all ways, and not to the worst. We must see that good lives are rewarded and evil ones punished. We must place the greatest value on things spiritual, and no man must be unduly rich or unduly poor. SOF 1-9. We must provide for the sick and helpless, for the old and incapable. We must assure the integrity of the family. The first objective must be the spiritual goal, which is the only proper one for all men. After that, all instruction and law should be bent toward an increasingly harmonious relationship between every living being. The upbringing of children must have as its objective the attainment of well-balanced manhood and womanhood. The next generation must be put first, but all too often today we are selfish, and having kids young means we are raising kids even before we have grown up enough to do the job right. We excuse this by saying it's human nature, yet God gave us self-control. We should be able to make informed decisions and not act like an animal on instinct. We say we are superior, yet run under the protection of the excuse we can't control ourselves any better than a dog. Does that make any sense?